Welcome to Inspire Daily. We're so glad you're here. At Inspire Daily, our mission is simple: to motivate, uplift, and empower you to reach your full potential. Whether you're looking for daily inspiration, tips for personal growth, or the encouragement to keep pushing forward, you've come to the right place. Join us every day for fresh, empowering content designed to help you overcome challenges, achieve your goals, and become the best version of yourself. Remember, every day is a new opportunity for growth, and we're here to help you make the most of it. Subscribe now and let's inspire each other to create the life we've always dreamed of.
You know, when you sent in your request for a deep dive on this building self-confidence and taking action thing, it really resonated with me.
Yeah,
It's something we all grapple with, isn't it?
it is.
It's that feeling of like, I want to do this, but
Absolutely. And, you've provided some really interesting sources
yeah.
on this topic. Everything from
Oh, yeah.
classic self-help books to recent research on the neuroscience of confidence.
I know.
It's quite a mix.
It is. And our mission today is to sift through all of it and find those golden nuggets, those
Yeah.
practical tips and aha moments that can actually,
Right.
help make a shift.
Yeah.
Because let's be real, self-confidence isn't just about feeling good.
Right.
It's the foundation for actually
Ha-
going after what you want in life.
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people get tripped up by thinking self-confidence is this fixed trait,
Yeah.
like eye color. They figure either you have it or you don't.
Right.
But the truth is, it's much more dynamic.
Okay.
It's a skill you can cultivate,
Right.
like learning to play an instrument.
So no more, I'm just not a confident person, excuses.
Exactly. That kind of thinking just keeps you stuck. Instead,
Yeah.
let's reframe it. Self-confidence is about believing in your ability to learn, grow,
Yeah.
and handle whatever comes your way.
Okay.
And that belief grows through experience.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But how do we even define self-confidence? I
Yeah.
mean, is it about
Yeah.
strutting around, like, everything?
Right.
Because frankly, that just sounds exhausting.
And that actually brings up a really important distinction.
Okay.
Confidence versus arrogance.
Okay.
True self-confidence
Mm,
isn't about needing to prove anything to anyone.
right.
It's a quiet self-assurance,
Uh-huh.
knowing you can handle things,
Yeah.
even if you don't have all the answers right now.
That makes me think of the difference between a tall tree standing strong and tall just because it is
Yeah.
versus a tree
Yeah.
trying to push others over to make itself seem taller,
Right.
which is a bit aggressive, tree-wise.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And it highlights a key point. Arrogance is often a mask for insecurity,
Okay.
whereas genuine confidence comes from a place of inner strength.
I'm starting to get the picture.
Good.
So it's not about being perfect or knowing everything.
Right.
It's about trusting yourself to figure things out,
Yeah.
which brings me to a question.
Okay.
Is there someone who embodies this idea, someone who maybe even struggled with confidence early on,
Yeah.
but learned to develop it?
Absolutely.
Because those kinds of stories are always so inspiring.
Think about Richard Branson.
Okay, yeah.
He's this
Okay.
larger-than-life figure now,
Mm-hmm.
known for his adventurous spirit and business success.
Right.
But what's fascinating is that he's
Yeah.
openly talked about struggling with dyslexia. Oh, wow. And feeling like an outsider growing up. He wasn't born with this unshakable confidence.
Right.
He had to build it.
That's incredible. Here's a guy who started his first business,
Yeah.
a student magazine, at 16 years old.
I know, right?
I was barely figuring out how to do laundry at that age.
Right.
What were some of the turning points for him?
Yeah.
Those aha moments where his confidence started to solidify.
Well, one key thing that comes up again and again
Yeah.
is the power of just taking action,
Okay.
even if it feels scary. That first business, the magazine,
Yeah.
wasn't an overnight success,
Right.
but it taught him valuable lessons
Yeah.
about resilience and bouncing back from setbacks. He started to realize, hey, I can handle this.
It's like each time he faced a challenge and came out the other side, his belief in himself grew a little bit stronger.
Right.
He went from, can I do this, to, I did it, what's next?
Precisely.
Right.
And that's a pattern we see over and over again,
Yeah.
both in his life and in the research on confidence.
Right.
It's not about waiting for the perfect moment
Yeah.
or until you feel 100% ready.
Okay.
It's about taking that leap and letting the experience itself
Yeah.
shape your belief
Okay.
and what you're capable of.
That's so encouraging.
Yeah.
It means you don't have to be born
Right.
with some magical confidence gene to achieve great things.
Right.
But what about those pesky self-limiting beliefs? You know, those little voices in our heads that tell us we're not good enough,
Right.
smart enough, or brave enough.
Yeah.
How do we even begin to identify
Right.
those sneaky saboteurs?
Those self-limiting beliefs, they're like gremlins, always lurking in the shadows,
Right.
ready to throw a wrench in our plans.
Yeah.
And you're right, sometimes they're so ingrained,
Yeah.
we don't even realize they're running the show.
So how do we smoke them out?
One of the best ways is
Yeah.
to pay attention to the stories
Right.
we tell ourselves, especially when we're thinking about our goals or dreams.
Okay.
Here's a quick exercise you can try right now. Think about something
Okay.
you really want to achieve.
Okay.
Got it.
Got it.
Now pay attention to the first doubts or fears that pop into your head.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your limiting beliefs at work.
I just did that, and wow, it's amazing how quickly those negative thoughts surface.
I know.
It's like, I want to start my own business, but I'm not cut out to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Or I'm too old to learn something new.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And by simply bringing those thoughts into awareness,
Okay.
you've taken the first step towards dismantling them.
Okay.
Now comes the fun part,
Okay.
challenging those beliefs.
Okay, so we've caught those negative gremlins red-handed.
Right.
What do we do next?
Yeah.
How do we actually start breaking free from their grip?
That's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
And that's what we'll dive into
Yeah.
in the next part of our deep dive. So we've identified some of those self-limiting beliefs,
Right.
those sneaky thoughts that hold us back.
Yeah.
Now, let's talk about how to break free.
Yes, please. Because knowing there is one thing,
Right.
but actually changing those deeply ingrained thought patterns feels like a whole other challenge.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
But remember, those beliefs aren't set in stone.
Okay.
They're often based on
Right.
past experiences, things people have said, or even just messages we've absorbed from society.
Like the idea that we have to be perfect or have it all figured out to be successful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And those kinds of beliefs can really trip us up.
Right.
So the first step is to start questioning them.
Okay.
Ask yourself,
Yeah.
is this belief really true?
Okay.
Is there evidence to support it?
Right.
Or is it just fear talking?
It's like putting those negative thoughts on trial,
Yeah.
cross-examining them for validity.
Yeah.
And often you realize they don't hold up under scrutiny.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And as you start to challenge those limiting beliefs,
Okay.
you can begin replacing them
Okay.
with more empowering ones.
Okay, like what?
For example, instead of, I'm not good enough,
Right.
you might try, I'm learning and growing every day, or I have unique strengths and talents to offer.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's like reframing the narrative from one of self-doubt to one of self-belief.
Exactly.
But sometimes those old thought patterns are so ingrained, it's hard to even imagine thinking differently.
That's where practical strategies come in.
Okay.
One technique you might find helpful is called mental contrasting.
Okay.
It involves visualizing both your desired outcome
Right.
and the potential obstacles
Okay.
you might face.
So instead of just picturing yourself crossing the finish line,
Yes.
you also imagine the hills you might have to climb along the way.
Precisely.
Okay.
This helps you anticipate challenges
Right.
and come up with solutions beforehand,
Okay.
making you feel more prepared
Right.
and less likely to get derailed.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like having a mental game plan for those moments when self-doubt starts to creep in.
Exactly.
You're not just hoping for the best.
Right.
You're actively preparing for the challenges, might come up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another technique that can be really powerful
Okay.
is journaling.
Okay.
Taking the time to write down your thoughts and feelings
Mm-hmm.
can help you identify those limiting beliefs
Okay.
and start to untangle them.
Okay.
You can even try writing a dialogue
Mm.
between your doubting self and your more confident self.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Yeah,
So it's like giving a voice to both sides of the internal struggle.
exactly.
Okay.
It can be surprisingly insightful.
Right.
And sometimes just the act of getting those thoughts out of your head
Yeah.
and onto paper can help you gain some perspective and distance from them.
It's like you're externalizing those internal battles, making them easier to manage.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about identifying and challenging limiting beliefs,
Right.
but there's also this idea of actually building confidence.
Right.
How do we shift from thinking about it
Yeah.
to actually doing it?
That's where the power of action comes in.
Okay.
Remember, confidence isn't something you magically acquire.
Right.
It's something you cultivate through experience.
Mm-hmm.
And often the best way to boost your confidence
Yeah.
is to simply start doing the things that scare you a little.
But what if those scary things feel completely overwhelming?
Yeah.
Like, I'm never going to feel confident enough to start my own business or give a TED Talk?
That's where the 2-minute rule can be a game changer.
Okay.
It's a simple but surprisingly effective technique
Okay.
where you commit to doing something for just 2 minutes.
2 minutes. That almost sounds too easy.
That's the beauty of it.
Okay.
The idea is that starting is often the hardest part.
Right.
Once you've overcome that initial inertia,
Yep.
you're much more likely to keep going.
Okay.
So instead of thinking, I need to write a whole chapter,
Right.
you tell yourself, I'm just going to write for 2 minutes.
And more often than not, you end up writing for much longer
Right.
because you've broken through that initial resistance.
Exactly.
It's like tricking your brain into taking action.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And each time you take action, no matter how small,
Right.
you're sending a signal to your brain
I
that
can
you're
think.
capable,
Okay.
which strengthens your self-belief.
It's like a positive feedback loop.
Yeah.
Action leads to confidence, which leads to more action,
Right.
and so on.
Exactly.
But I think it's also important to acknowledge that taking action isn't always about
Right.
doing big, scary things.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's about those small,
Right.
consistent efforts that build momentum over time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the most effective strategies for building lasting confidence is to focus on small wins
Okay.
instead of aiming for massive,
Right.
overwhelming goals right away.
Yeah.
Break them down
I thought-
into smaller, more manageable steps.
So instead of saying, I'm going to run a marathon,
Right.
you start with, I'm going to run for 15 minutes 3 times a week.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And each time you achieve one of those smaller goals,
Yeah.
you get a little boost of confidence.
Right.
It's like you're proving to yourself,
Mm.
hey, I can do this.
And that feeling of accomplishment, those small wins,
Yes.
can be surprisingly powerful.
Absolutely.
They release dopamine,
Yes.
which not only feels good,
Right.
but also motivates you to keep going.
Precisely.
Yeah.
It creates a sense of momentum and progress,
Okay.
which is essential for staying motivated
Right.
and building lasting confidence.
So start small, celebrate those wins,
Yes.
and let that positive reinforcement fuel your journey.
Right.
I think that's a great takeaway for our listeners.
Yeah.
Now, what about self-compassion? You mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
And I think it's a crucial piece of the puzzle when it comes to building confidence.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
You know, we're often our own harshest critics, but
Yeah.
treating ourselves with kindness and understanding is essential for
Right.
confidence growth.
So cutting ourselves some slack when we make mistakes
Yeah.
and focusing on our strengths instead of dwelling on our weaknesses.
Exactly.
Okay.
Think of it as cheering yourself on
Right.
instead of beating yourself up.
Yeah.
This can involve practices like journaling,
Okay.
positive affirmations, or simply acknowledging your efforts and progress.
It's like being your own best friend,
Yes.
offering support and encouragement instead of
Right.
judgment and criticism.
Exactly.
Which brings me to another question.
Okay.
We've been talking a lot about the mental side of
Yeah.
building confidence,
Right.
but what about the physical? Does our body language or posture play a role?
That's a fascinating question.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Yeah.
There's a powerful connection between our minds and bodies. How we carry ourselves
Yeah.
can actually influence how we feel about ourselves.
Oh, wow.
Studies have shown that adopting a more expansive posture, standing tall, shoulders back,
Okay.
head held high,
Hmm.
can actually increase feelings of confidence and power.
So even if you don't feel confident on the inside, faking it till you make it with your body language can actually help.
It's true.
I've definitely noticed that when I'm feeling a bit down.
Yeah.
Slumping over just makes me feel worse.
Our posture sends signals to our brains,
Mm.
and those signals can impact our emotions and even our behavior.
Interesting.
So if you're looking for a quick confidence boost,
Yeah.
try standing tall and taking up space.
Okay.
You might be surprised by how much of a difference it makes.
Okay, that's a great tip.
Yeah,
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
we have.
Identifying limiting beliefs, the 2-minute rule, small wins,
Right?
self-compassion, and even the power of posture.
It's a lot. Yeah.
Now I'm wondering,
Yeah.
is there a story, maybe even one from your own life, that illustrates how these pieces can come together
Yeah.
to create a real shift in confidence?
You know, there is.
Okay.
I used to be absolutely terrified of public speaking.
Really?
Just the thought of standing in front of a crowd
Yeah.
and sharing my ideas filled me with dread.
That's so relatable.
Yes.
I think a lot of people share that fear.
Do they?
So how did you go from feeling terrified to
Yeah.
feeling, well, maybe not completely at ease,
Right.
but at least capable of
Yeah.
getting up on stage?
Well, for me, it started with acknowledging that fear
Okay.
and trying to understand where it was coming from.
Right.
I realized that a lot of it stemmed from a fear of judgment,
Okay.
a fear of not being good enough.
So it was those pesky limiting beliefs again, rearing their ugly heads.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And once I recognized that,
Yeah.
I could start to challenge those beliefs.
Right.
I reminded myself that I was passionate about the topics I
Okay.
wanted to speak about,
Mm-hmm.
and that my unique perspective had value,
Okay.
even if not everyone agreed with me.
That's such an important reminder.
Yeah.
Your voice matters, even if it shapes a little.
Yes. And then I started taking small steps to
Okay.
get more comfortable with public speaking.
Like what?
I joined Toastmasters,
Oh, cool.
which is a fantastic organization
Yeah.
that provides a supportive environment for practicing public speaking.
So you created a space where it was okay to make mistakes and learn from them.
Exactly.
That's great.
And each time I got up and spoke,
Yeah.
even if it was just for a few minutes,
Mm-hmm.
my confidence grew a little bit. I
Yeah.
started to realize that I could do it,
Yeah.
that the fear wasn't going to kill me.
It's like you were gradually desensitizing yourself to the fear,
Yeah.
proving to yourself that you could handle it.
Right.
And eventually that fear started to lessen its grip.
Yes.
Okay.
And, there were still moments of nerves, of course.
Right.
But I had developed a toolkit of strategies for managing those feelings.
Okay.
I would use visualization techniques to mentally rehearse my talks. And I would focus on my breathing to calm my nerves.
Okay.
And I would remind myself that it was okay to make mistakes,
Right.
that everyone does.
That's such a powerful story.
It
It
was.
really shows how those small steps,
Yeah.
combined with self-compassion and a willingness to embrace discomfort, can lead to significant growth.
Yeah.
And it makes me think of another really important aspect of building confidence.
What's that?
Finding your people, your tribe,
Yes.
that supportive community that can cheer you on
Absolutely.
and offer encouragement along the way.
Having people who believe in you
Mm-hmm.
and support your dreams
Yeah.
can make all the difference.
They can offer a listening ear, provide helpful feedback,
Right.
and celebrate your wins, big and small.
Yeah.
And sometimes just knowing that you're not alone in the struggle
Right. Yeah.
can be incredibly empowering.
Exactly. It's like having a team of cheerleaders
Yes.
reminding you of your strengths
Right.
and helping you pick yourself up when you stumble.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
And, it brings me back to our deep dive mission
Mm-hmm.
to sift through these resources and find those golden nuggets that can help our listeners
Right.
make real progress.
Yes.
And I think one of the key takeaways here
Yeah.
is that building confidence is an ongoing process,
Right.
a journey, not a destination.
Exactly.
It's about embracing the ups and downs,
Yes.
learning from our experiences,
Yes.
and surrounding ourselves with people who champion our growth.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And, thinking about the journey ahead,
Yeah.
I'm reminded of a quote by Elon Musk
Okay.
that really captures the essence of what we've been talking about.
Okay, what is it?
He said, I think it's very important to have a feedback loop
Okay.
where you're constantly thinking about
Yeah.
what you've done and how you could be doing it better.
Oh.
I think that's the single best piece of advice.
Yeah.
Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself.
That's such a great quote.
Yeah.
It highlights the importance of self-reflection,
Yeah.
continuous learning, and a willingness to embrace those moments of constructive discontent.
Right.
It's not about beating ourselves up for our mistakes,
Right.
but rather using them as opportunities to
Absolutely.
grow and improve.
Exactly.
And,
Yeah.
when you approach life with that kind of mindset,
Uh-huh.
you're setting yourself up for not only greater confidence, but
Yeah.
also greater fulfillment.
Yes.
Because you're no longer afraid of failure.
Right.
You're embracing it,
Yeah.
the necessary part of the learning process.
And that, I think, is
Yeah.
the key to unlocking our full potential.
Absolutely.
Not letting fear hold us back,
Right.
but rather using it as fuel to propel us forward.
Now, before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'd love to hear more about those real-life examples you mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
The stories of people who overcame self-doubt to achieve incredible things.
Right.
Because those stories have a way of inspiring us to believe that maybe, just maybe, we
Yeah.
can do it too.
Absolutely. And there's so many incredible stories to choose from.
Yeah.
But one that comes to mind is the story of Oprah Winfrey.
Okay. Yeah.
She's now a global icon.
Right.
But her journey was far from easy.
That's right. She faced incredible adversity from poverty and abuse to discrimination and self-doubt.
It's true.
So how did she rise above those challenges and
Yeah.
achieve such extraordinary success?
Well, one key factor
Yeah.
was her unwavering belief in her own potential.
Okay.
Even in the face of immense challenges,
Yeah.
she never gave up on her dreams.
That's so inspiring.
Yeah.
But I think that it's also important to acknowledge that believing in yourself isn't always easy,
Right.
especially when you face setbacks or negative experiences.
Right.
So how did she cultivate that inner strength and resilience?
She's talked a lot about the power of self-awareness
Okay.
and self-acceptance.
Okay.
She learned to embrace her authentic self,
Yeah.
flaws and all,
Mm-hmm.
and to focus on her strengths rather than dwelling on her weaknesses.
That's such a powerful message.
Is it?
It's not about pretending to be perfect.
Right.
It's about recognizing that our imperfections are part of what makes us
Yeah.
unique and valuable.
Exactly.
And she also emphasizes the importance of taking action
Yes.
and stepping outside of your comfort zone.
Right.
She said, the biggest adventure you can ever take is to live the life of your dreams.
That's a great quote.
It speaks to the idea that confidence is often a byproduct of courage,
Mm.
of taking those leaps of faith, even when you're not sure what the outcome will be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Oprah's story is a testament to the transformative power of that kind of courage.
Right.
She didn't wait for permission or validation from others.
Uh.
She created her own opportunities
Mhm.
and paved her own path.
And in doing so, she not only achieved incredible success,
Yeah.
but also inspired millions of people around the world to do the same.
I love that.
Now, I'm wondering, are there any other stories that
Mhm.
stand out to you as examples of
Yeah.
how to build confidence and achieve extraordinary things?
Mm.
Stories that might offer our listeners some tangible takeaways or aha moments.
You know, there is one that comes to mind,
Okay.
and it's a bit unexpected.
Oh.
It's the story of J.K. Rowling,
Okay.
the author of the Harry Potter series.
Oh, that's interesting. I've heard bits and pieces of her story,
Oh,
but I'd
cool.
love to hear more about her journey and
Yeah.
how it relates to the themes we've been exploring.
Well, as you know, the Harry Potter books
Yeah.
have become a global phenomenon,
Right.
selling over 500 million copies
Wow.
and inspiring a multi-billion-dollar franchise.
Wow.
But what's fascinating is that Rowling faced significant rejection and self-doubt
Right.
before achieving that level of success.
That's right. I remember reading that her manuscript for Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone
Yes.
was rejected by 12 different publishers
Yeah.
before finally being accepted by Bloomsbury.
Exactly.
Wow.
And during that time,
Yeah.
she was struggling financially,
Right.
dealing with the challenges of being a single mother
Mm-hmm.
and battling depression.
Oh, wow.
It would have been easy to give up on her dream,
Right.
to believe that maybe she wasn't good enough
Right.
or that her story wasn't worth telling.
But she persevered.
She did.
She kept believing in her vision, even when it seemed like no one else did.
Right.
And that, I think,
Yeah.
is one of the most powerful lessons we can learn from her story.
What's that?
The importance of trusting your own instincts
Mm-hmm.
and not letting the opinions of others define you.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that helped her through that difficult time was her unwavering commitment to her craft.
Okay.
She wrote every single day,
Wow.
even when she was feeling discouraged or overwhelmed.
So it was that consistent action,
Yeah.
that dedication to her craft
Mm.
that helped her not only to improve her writing,
Right.
but also to build her confidence.
Exactly.
Wow.
And it's a reminder that confidence isn't something you wait for.
Right.
It's something you cultivate through practice and perseverance.
And sometimes it's in those moments of struggle,
Right.
when we're pushing through challenges and facing our fears,
yeah,
that we discover our true strength and resilience.
absolutely.
That's powerful.
And you know what's so inspiring about both Oprah's story and J.K. Rowling's story?
Yeah.
Is that they didn't achieve success overnight.
Right.
They faced setbacks, they made mistakes,
Yeah.
they doubted themselves,
Right.
but they kept going.
Yeah.
They kept believing in their vision and taking action.
Right.
And eventually,
Yeah.
their hard work and dedication paid off.
And that's a message that I think will resonate deeply with our listeners.
I think so too.
Because it's a reminder that success is not about being perfect
Right.
or having it all figured out. It's about having the courage to pursue your dreams,
Yeah.
even when it feels scary or uncertain,
Mm-hmm.
and to keep learning and growing along the way.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
And, you know, as we move into the final part of our deep dive,
Yeah.
I think it's important to circle back to what we've learned so far.
Right.
and to offer our listeners some tangible takeaways that they can apply to their own lives.
Yes, absolutely. Let's synthesize all this incredible information
Yeah.
and create a roadmap for our listeners
Mm-hmm.
to build their own self-confidence and take action towards their goals.
Mm-hmm.
So we've explored a lot in our deep dive into self-confidence,
We have.
from understanding its true nature
Right.
to identifying those pesky self-limiting beliefs.
Uh-huh.
We've also talked about some really powerful strategies for cultivating confidence, like the 2-minute rule, focusing on small wins,
Right.
and the importance of self-compassion.
Absolutely.
And we've seen how these principles come to life
Yeah.
in the stories of people like Richard Branson, Oprah Winfrey, and J.K. Rowling,
Right.
who all faced challenges and setbacks,
Yeah.
but ultimately achieved incredible things.
It's true.
Their journeys remind us that confidence isn't
Right.
some magical quality you're born with.
Yeah.
It's a muscle you build
Mm-hmm.
through experience, perseverance, and a
Right.
willingness to embrace discomfort.
And sometimes it's about finding your tribe,
Right.
those people who believe in you and support your growth.
Absolutely.
That sense of community can be incredibly empowering,
Yeah.
especially when you're facing those inevitable moments of self-doubt.
It's like having a team of cheerleaders in your corner.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And, as we wrap up our deep dive,
Yeah.
I think it's important to leave our listener with some key takeaways that they can start putting into practice right away.
Absolutely. What are some of the most important things you'd want our listener to remember as they embark on their own journey of building confidence and taking action?
Well, first and foremost,
Yeah.
remember that self-confidence is a skill, not a trait.
Okay.
It's something you can develop and strengthen over time
Right.
with practice and effort.
So don't get discouraged if you don't feel super confident right now.
Exactly.
It's a journey, not a destination.
And remember that action is the antidote to self-doubt.
Oh.
Don't wait until you feel confident to take action.
Right.
Take action to build confidence.
Even if it's just a tiny step,
Yeah.
like spending 2 minutes working on that project you've been putting off,
Right.
or sending that email you've been hesitant to write.
Those small actions create ripples of confidence that can build over time.
And remember to celebrate those small wins.
Yes.
They're not just about
Right.
checking things off a to-do list.
Yeah.
They're about reinforcing your sense of capability and proving to yourself that you can make progress.
And don't forget the power of self-compassion.
Right.
Be kind to yourself,
Okay.
especially when you make mistakes.
Yeah.
Remember that setbacks are a natural part of the learning process,
Right.
not a sign that you're not good enough.
Right. Okay.
Embrace those challenges as opportunities for growth.
Okay.
Ask yourself,
Yeah.
what can I learn from this?
Right.
Or how can I do better next time?
Mm-hmm.
That kind of constructive self-reflection can be incredibly empowering.
And finally, remember the power of visualization.
Yes.
Take some time each day to imagine yourself achieving your goals, feeling that sense of accomplishment and pride.
It's not just about wishful thinking.
Right.
It's about priming your mind for success
Okay.
and reinforcing the belief that those goals are attainable.
So there you have it, a roadmap for building self-confidence and taking action.
Mm-hmm.
We hope this deep dive has provided you with some valuable insights and practical strategies that you can start implementing today.
Remember,
And-
confidence is not about being fearless or perfect.
Right.
It's about trusting yourself enough to keep trying, keep learning, and keep growing,
Yeah.
even when it feels challenging or uncomfortable.
And as you embark on this journey,
Yeah.
know that we're cheering you on every step of the way.
We are.
Now, as we wrap up,
Yeah.
we'd love to leave you with one final thought to ponder.
Okay.
It's a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt that captures the essence of what we've been talking about today.
Right.
She said, "You gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face.
Wow.
You are able to say to yourself,
Yeah.
I have lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along.
Right.
You must do the thing you think you cannot do."
That's so powerful.
It's a powerful reminder that true confidence is forged in the fires of our experiences. In those moments when we choose courage over comfort
Right.
and action over inaction.
So go out there,
Yes.
embrace the challenges, and dare to do the things you think you cannot do.
We believe in you.